introduce myself officially. My name is Eric Paulos. Welcome to the MDes Virtual Visit Day. I'm on the faculty here in Electrical Engineering Computer Science. I'm also part of the Berkeley Center for New Media, and I'm the faculty director of the MDes program, along with my colleague, Kyle Steinfeld. I'm gonna let him introduce himself. Kyle.
I'm Kyle Steinfeld. I'm an associate professor in the Department of Architecture over in the College of Environmental Design. And I'm also the associate director of the MDes program. It's great to connect with you in this way. I'm so glad that we're able to do this. I'm excited not only because, as I mentioned yesterday on the kind of student-led call, that I'm finally getting like this group of people that I've connected with individually at times, or maybe just through their applications all together in one place, and the prospect of like us being together on campus and learning together and working together. I'm also excited because this third cohort in particular is like the first time that we've been at the scale that we've imagined the program like from the beginning. This is the right size. Like this is the size that we imagined things happening at, and I'm really pumped to like to engage with you in the way that we've envisioned all along.
Great, yeah, welcome. I'm going to have another member of the really important leadership, Gwen Keithley, introduce herself briefly.
Hi everyone, I'm Gwen Keithley. I have seen all of your names. It's so exciting to see you all in one room together because yeah, we just imagine you as our third cohort being with us here on campus. And it's just wonderful to kind of see you all in one place. So thanks for joining us today. We have a kind of real introduction from the perspective of faculty and instructors about the academic experience here. We'll have a little view into our facilities and the spaces that we have here available to you. And we hope to have time to answer your questions and have you introduce each other. Introduce yourselves to each other if you haven't had that chance yet. So welcome. We're thrilled to see all of you here today, and can't wait to share more about the MDes.
Great, thanks, Gwen. So you're gonna get a chance to hear a lot more from us, and we'll be with you throughout the day. But I wanted to give you, there's a lot of other members that you're going to get to meet, instructors, students, people in the maker space. You're going to get a chance to see the studio. As you saw, there's a whole day worth of events. But I wanted to sort of at least start off and do, this will be the only time I'm showing a couple slides just to give you some context of a little about the program and a little bit about the amazing cohort you're all part of. I just want to also tell people that we did enable closed captioning. So for those of you that would like to take advantage of that, I think you go down under the live transcript and you can sort of navigate that. Please put it in the chat if it's a little complicated. It won't be the first time someone was confused by Zoom, so you'll be part of the club by asking a question. Okay, another thing before we get started, I just want to acknowledge, I mean, we're certainly excited about the program and we are excited about all of you being here. I do want to be acknowledging just the really horrific things happening in the world, the fact that there's a war going on, that people are suffering in other parts, and we are in a really privileged position to talk about what we're trying to do here right now. And hopefully what we do in the classroom is the kind of thing that can affect not only great designs and enable people and empower them, but also maybe change policy or maybe even create more peaceful interactions. I know a lot of us, the situation in the war in Ukraine is on our mind, so I want to acknowledge that. So I'm gonna just share my screen for a couple minutes so I can show you a couple things. And this is pretty brief. So welcome to Berkeley. I know you're not physically here, but we are a beautiful campus located right here near the Bay, in the Bay Area. And I know one of the reasons you're here is to make a decision. And I thought I'd start with a quote. So this is a quote. It says, "It is change, continuing change, inevitable change that is the dominant factor in society today. No sensible decision can be made any longer without taking into account not only the world as it is, but the world as it will be." And hopefully, I know that there are heavy things on many of your minds, but that decisions around coming to Berkeley can be things of really moving yourself and your career forward and being part of something that is always changing in life and society. Welcome, you're the class of 2023. Look at you, you're in boxes. Soon you won't be in boxes, you'll be real people in real spaces, but welcome to what, as Kyle mentioned, this is the kind of scale of the program that we've always imagined, and the energy is palpable. This is a little bit of information about all of you in terms of kind of things such as the average age, the range of people in the program, the breakdown. Some of this, I believe some information was shared about previous cohorts, so I'm not going to share that, but this is you because, hey, this is all about you guys. The number of people that are, you know, underrepresented minorities and California residents, and the representation of the different international perspectives that are going to come into the classroom, which is something that really gets me excited. We are here in the Bay Area, a lot of a Western view of things. Also, this is the breakdown of disciplines of people in the program. You'll hopefully find yourself. There's a little bit of tweaking because there's lots of people that have design and design and design. We just sort of collapsed it into different kinds of subcategories, but you'll see that this is part of the absolute strength of the program, that it is a place and finds a home for so many disciplines. And the magic that happens in the studio is really amazing. I'll remind you that the Berkeley MDes is designed to leverage excellence in innovative technologies and the rich history of design, social justice, and activism at Berkeley to create world-class creative designers who take an interdisciplinary approach to problem solving. And that's a big part of what we are about and how we want to operate, this idea of technology, social justice, and activism. There's a lot of things that are really unique about the program. One of them is the fact that it is joint between the College of Engineering. I'm actually in Jacobs Hall right now. I know I have a weird background on, but I am in the building. And the College of Environmental Design. So this is where architecture, landscape architecture, and all the kind of deep history of design is on campus. So it's sort of a best of both worlds. And also, let's not miss the fact that we are situated in the Bay Area. So not only Berkeley as a hub of innovation with #1 programs, not only in engineering and others, but many across the entire university, excellence. And it also is the place of the home of sort of a lot of design, activism, Silicon Valley, entrepreneurship, a lot of amazing things happening. And that ecosystem comes in and out of the classroom in really powerful ways. So the last thing I'll leave you with is our program, which I know you all have, or you're at least able to look at online, but we're going to be able to walk through and get a chance to meet a lot of people, and hopefully you get as many of your questions answered today. And I encourage you, you can ask them in chat. We'll be around a little bit at the end as well. And as always, if things are still, we're available for you even after this visit day. So I'm gonna sort of kick us back into being together as our fancy little boxes and kind of move on with the program a little bit. So one thing that we're going to do is we're going to let you meet some of the instructors that teach within the program, and there's many across many departments, and you're invited to kind of look through the webpage, but we were able to get a couple of them that are really excited to meet you as well. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves and tell them a little bit about their kind of interest in the MDev and what their role is. And you'll get a really good sense of what they teach and how they interact with the students. So the first person I'm going to go to is Dr. Vivek Rao. Vivek.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric. It is great to see everyone and many familiar faces. Shout out to Darren, Shinky, Samrito, and there's many more who I don't have time to name. My name is Vivek Rao. I'm a lecturer here at the Jacobs Institute and at UC Berkeley, and I also do research in the Department of Mechanical Engineering. And you know, for me, the MDes is really a culmination of these incredible trends we see in technology and critique in social practice, along with the resources that Eric just mentioned that the Berkeley campus brings to bear. So it's this beautiful confluence of things. Then it's a confluence with all of you, and the students really make the program wonderful. And I'm excited about our third incoming cohort because we have been learning a lot together with our previous two cohorts, and I'm really excited to the insight, the energy, and the experience that all of you are going to bring to our program and what we're going to continue to build together. Eric, back over to you.
All right, excellent. Thanks, Vivek. Vivek teaches a lot of the introductory courses too, so he's been really instrumental in helping build the program as well. It's a very much co-design kind of culture here. So I'm gonna next go to Dr. Adam Hutz, who's also an instructor. He plays multiple roles. You're gonna meet him a couple times. Which hat do you want to wear, Adam?
Hi, thank you, Eric. Yes, great to meet you all. Hello. So I'm Adam Hutz, and like Eric says, you'll meet me a few times. Today, I'm introducing myself as a co-lecturer with Dr. Vivek Rao. We've joined forces for the past 2 semesters to teach a class called Technology Design Foundations. And I've also had the unique and wonderful privilege of serving as a design specialist for the Jacobs Hall. And so we'll work together upstairs, and then we'll work together downstairs in the makerspace in both of those capacities. So for me, the MDes program is a gravitational assist, and you come in with one trajectory, and you're able to use the vast tangible and intangible resources of the University of California to leave with a totally different trajectory if you so choose, and at a much higher velocity. So I'm excited about the third cohort because I really thought that from the first cohort to the second, we would be able to really predict what all of the students would produce and make. But I love surprises, and not a single member of the second cohort produced similar work to a single member of the first cohort. And if the pattern holds, all of you will produce surprising and wonderful work as well. So I'm really excited to see what you build at the University of California. So back to you, Eric.
All right, thanks, Adam. Excellent. Not only lots of skills around hands-on building and making, but we also want to think about design theories, how to think through really being quite rigorous in the way we work and drawing from histories. And we're really fortunate to have Dr. Randy Swearer, who's coming with many decades of experience at University of Texas and Parsons School of Design and other places. He was also at Harvard, and he's even spent time at Autodesk, so he brings a tremendous wealth of knowledge. I'm going to let Randy introduce himself. Randy.
Hey, everybody. It is so great to see you. I joined MDes this year. I teach a course called Frameworks. And as Eric said, I've taught a lot of places, and I have been so impressed with the cohorts that I've been teaching. And I've taught both at this point. I mean, they're endlessly inventive, super, super creative and smart. But for me, what's really important is they're also humble. I mean, it's a really humble group, a very kind, wonderful kind of community that I love being part of. So, and I just wanted to emphasize something I think Adam just said, that, look, MDes is amazing. Jacobs Hall is amazing. But the University of California at Berkeley, the opportunities for you there are absolutely, they're almost endless as long as you're willing and have the energy to kind of reach out and take advantage of them. So I'm thrilled to be part of this community, and I look forward to welcoming you to campus.
All right, great. Thanks, Randy. So, and also just to kind of echo that, it's true. We're here, we're going to tell you about the program, but the reality is, I always say, if you just even stand still on the campus, there are things going on, amazing speakers, events, workshops. I mean, you can end up finding pockets of just awesomeness all around campus, certainly away from the building too. So, the last person I want to make sure we introduce is a great addition to the program, Floor van der Wal, who comes to us with a tremendous depth of design, materiality. Floor.
Hi, everyone. So excited to see some familiar faces and others I can't wait to meet. My name is Floor van der Velde, I'm a lecturer at MDis. I'm also a practicing artist, and I always think of myself as sort of the odd one out, walking around, creating more sort of like hands-on, experiences. But my interest is in the intersection of art and technology. So you can imagine it's just amazing for me to be at MDis. I'm super excited about the third cohort, just from the conversations I had with a few of you, and the breadth of knowledge and the things that you guys are going to be bringing is already energizing me. So I'm just excited to see how you will energize me, how I will energize you, and how you will energize each other. And I think I'm speaking for myself, but maybe for my colleagues too, that we're really here to, help you follow your curiosity. And we want to really just facilitate you to have boundless innovation, curiosity, and discover those things that you want to learn at MDis. Happy to meet you all.
All right, great. Thanks, Flor. So actually, Flor's actually responsible for all this amazing material. Whenever I walk through the studio, there's now concrete and clay and mycelium and bamboo and just all these wonderful things that are in direct conversation with some of our technologies in a critical way, in an ethical way, and really thinking about the future. And yes, we're going to have some flat glass screens we interact with for a while, but there's probably a lot more, and we need your help inventing that. Okay, so what we're going to do is now you got a chance to at least get a little teaser of some of the instructors, but we want to make sure that you got a chance to hear a little bit more about some of these courses, kind of what do you actually do, what's it feel like, what kind of work happens, and we'll do that a little bit for a couple of the courses. So the same people that you just saw, they're going to talk a little bit about the different courses that they teach. And the first is one of the classes you would take the very first semester is Technology Design Foundations. Adam and Vivek have really championed and brought that in. They've taught it several times together, and I'm going to let them introduce that course and talk to it. So Adam and Vivek.
All right, excellent. So Adam, if you wouldn't mind screen sharing, this is a class that, as Adam mentioned, both he and I are incredibly excited to continue to build. We've piloted twice with MDis students and 2 times with Berkeley students before that. So we're really excited to share more about this. But the course Technology Design Foundations, next slide, please, is co-taught by Adam and myself, and it represents a blend of the 3 pillars of the MDis program: technical rigor, social practice, and design theory. And let me tell you how we dig into each of those. Next slide. In technical rigor, we really dig into digital fabrication and physical computing as the toolkits that we find that innovation and design leaders and designers really need to address complex problems that they're interested in. And so we'll tell you more about what that looks like. In terms of design theory, we really dig into a rigorous human-centered design practice in a project-based learning experience, which we'll also share more about. And we blend in elements of systems thinking and other elements of design theory to really support and contextualize the technologies that we are practicing. And then the last bit on social practice is really the goal of an 8-week team project that forms kind of the big kind of synthesis of our work in the class overall. And Adam's going to tell you more about how we put these 3 elements together. And over to you, Adam.
Awesome, thanks, Vivek. So the first module of TDF is designed to introduce a range of digital fabrication techniques, CAD, 3D printing, laser cutting, as well as to our course toolkit, which I'll jump to in just a moment here. Our toolkit is built around the Raspberry Pi 4, or at least it has been for the last few semesters. Across the first sessions of the class, students assemble their kits to produce a computational system that gives them access to more than a dozen inputs and outputs, including buttons, knobs, motors, lights, a touch screen, but also sophisticated emerging technologies like cloud-based image labeling, speech recognition, face tracking, and then a series of individual skill building prompts to illustrate how to use this same pipe system, as Vivek said, as a prototyping tool for prototyping novel interactions. The module accumulates in an individual assignment that leverages all the skills learned in module 1. So just a few examples of this. On the top right here, we have a mask that illustrates how you're actually feeling underneath the mask using image recognition. Bottom left, we actually have Roland on the call. His work for sharing a virtual experience, which is normally had solo. And then we have a cumulative project down here called Cube, which maybe we'll talk about in just a moment. Let's jump to a couple of quick examples here. This is an example from Chilling. And so this is a mobile workout coach that actually uses image tracking and recognition to give you feedback on your form. And so as you work out, it'll tell you how you're doing. So you can see the use of our Pi toolkit here. Second example. Sarah created a really unique experience for people who interact with individuals who use sign language. So this is both an educational tool that tracks your hand motions and can give you feedback on sign language or can decode sign language. And then also has a reverse mode where you're effectively Google translating from one person to another in real time. So these are examples of our F1 project, which is our final kind of cumulative individual project. We then move into a team building, excuse me, a team project 8-week event where this past semester it was themed around bending towards justice, reimagining blank in light of blank. And our teams came up with their own prompts to respond to this. Houseless rights in light of increasing wildfire frequency, education for children with autism in light of emerging technologies, and reducing food waste in light of modern American food culture. And through these 8 to 9 week explorations, students use design framework methodologies in order to do user research, interviews, and synthesis, and come up with their own solutions to the problems they discover. So just to feature one of these projects, this is IDOS. And IDOS responded to the problem of food waste by creating this kind of in-home virtual assistant that you can that speaks to you and tells you about what is running low in your fridge or what is going bad in your fridge, and then you can use that item. And this is meant to reduce food waste. So they produced all of the documentation for their final presentation for our field or for our design showcase at the end of the semester, and came up with a really beautiful hardware prototype that also had a software component as well. So just one example, just to try and pique your interest about what we do in the course. Okay.
All right, great. Thanks, Vivek, and thanks, Adam. Yeah, so that's a really exciting course where everyone gets to sort of get their hands sort of dirty the first time and really start to physically make things, but also in a thoughtful way. So the next instructor, you already met Randy, and he's going to talk a little bit about design frameworks. Randy.
Design frameworks, I thought I'd start a little bit with the nuts and bolts of it. Frameworks is a seminar style course with a month-long studio project at the end. So it's really kind of a hybrid sort of format. And the project at the end is really a place where students can bring together their learning, not only from the course itself, but I've consciously designed it so that they can integrate learning from other courses, especially the sorts of technological things they're learning. So that's the nuts and bolts, but let's talk about what the course is really kind of focusing on. There was this famous economist and computer scientist, and it was Herbert Simon, and he famously said that design is really about changing existing situations into preferred ones, which in my view is kind of exactly what design is all about. And because this is so, the course positions design fundamentally as a mode of future making. It looks at like lots of historical examples of how design has attempted to manifest the future for better and worse. And then we examine the theoretical dimensions of design as a mode of future making and critique it. It then explores the actual foresight methods and processes that designers can use to imagine what we call alternative and preferable futures. And finally, in that studio project I mentioned earlier, the course provides frameworks, students with these opportunities to explore speculative and critical design methods that, in a sense, kind of bring back bits of the future that they imagine, and they bring it back to the present for others to concretely interact with, consider, critique, and endorse. It's a really, really powerful method. And another feature of the course, I think that's really important, at least to me, and the students have found it very, very powerful, is these coffee conversations that we have, where We bring in thought leaders from around the world in the area of design futures, and they interact informally with students. We bring them to class. The students actually lead the conversations to facilitate them with each of the coffee conversationalists. And these people, to get back to what's great about MDes, they're not coming because of the money. They're coming because they're interested in the program, obviously the topic, but first and foremost, it's the MDes students. I get really grave reviews from them after nearly every session. And the coffee conversations piece is really gratifying to me because the students really own the visits. They completely own them. They guide the conversations, and in the process, I think they build their networks. So that's, let me stop the share here. That's frameworks.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Randy.
Sure.
I was just realizing also that whatever future exhibit we're going to encounter, I don't know if it's like 10, 20, 30 years from now, about like understanding the pandemic, there'll be a room that says all these catchphrases like, I think you're on Zoom, and things like that, just to recall. I think it's like, I'm looking forward to not saying like all these things all the time. It's funny. Our whole culture has shifted. Excellent. That class, the students have so much energy. And I also want to say that all these classes are in conversation with each other. We're presenting them in these kind of siloed ways of each instructor, but the instructors are all in conversation. And I know that the materials, the methods, they kind of bleed across all of the courses. And I already alluded to Flora's class and all these materials. And she's another instructor that's really bringing in this rich studio culture to our program. Flora, you want to talk about some of the courses you're teaching? And I think you're on mute.
Sorry about that, pressing many buttons at the same time. I'm just going to share my screen here. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm having some technical issues. Maybe Gwen, if you could just share that one slide, that's fine. And I'll just speak from my notes a little bit. But yeah, DT2, this is a material-driven design class. And we take a slightly different approach to investigating emerging technologies by learning about the role of material properties in the design process. You'll investigate and focus your attention on the role of materials as a vital part of the discovery phase in design innovation. So ultimately, the goal of this course is to train you as a designer and really look at the physical world around you and sort of recognize the abundance of materials that are there for you for the taking, right? And this becomes a catalyst in your design process. And it's my hope that you'll learn that material really it's not a passive substance. It's material can be thought of an actual technology if you think about sandpaper, right? And material can very much lead in the design process as well. And in this class, most students work on individual projects, but sometimes there are crossovers between materials. So there's some groups that might form, for example, this semester, more than a few students are interested in seaweed or algae, or there's another group that's investigating wax or concrete. So those crossovers happen quite a bit as well. During the semester, you will discover and emphasize the role of materials in design as something that's both technical but also experiential. And there are a couple of questions we try to answer. For example, how do we use materials to create tools for thinking? How do we activate thinking through making? And can a material be or become a technology in itself? It's a very hands-on course, so be prepared to get your hands dirty. You'll have the opportunity to hold, to manipulate, to collect, to probe, to experiment. And you'll think about what these materials can mean in technology and in the design process, but also how can you push the boundaries of these materials, right? And how can they become actors in designs for novel designs and solutions. So that's designing emerging technologies too. I'll also be teaching a class called Studio Foundations, and I'm super excited about this class because I'll be bringing some of my experience from teaching artists as well and from helping them through their studio practice. And I think a lot of these ideas are translatable for designers, for engineers, for architects. So I'll be bringing that experience in and I'm just going to read here the introduction for Studio Foundation. So this will introduce incoming MDes students to the key concepts of Design Studio and the foundational practice and methods that inform the ways that designers work, collaborate, and practice. Students are introduced to the culture and life of a working studio, the intellectual heart of the design practice, and the place where we engage, explore, and experiment. Design is an iterative practice, so the course modules the development of ideas through feedback and response, critique and refinement, dialogue, and distillation. Studio engages a variety of materials and media and seeks to uncover new approaches to making through emerging technology. As representation is a foundational capacity in design, this course initiates a considered practice of presenting and communicating design ideas. To this end, we address skills in visual and verbal communication and learn ways to document projects in order to begin building a portfolio of design work. And it's also really a class to help you figure out how do you use your space, because you get assigned some studio space. And for a lot of you, this might be a little strange at first because we're very used to working on our laptop. So I will help you sort of decide how you're going to use your space, how you can best utilize the things that are available to you, and how you can pull all of that together to form a nice holistic studio practice. And you'll end up knowing how to continue throughout the course. So those are the two classes that I'll be teaching.
All right, fantastic. Thanks, Flor. And just to tell you a little bit more context, this is a sequence of courses with this Designing Emerging Technologies. That's this DET framework, which is a core part of the program where, in essence, you get to encounter different kinds of technologies and materials, understand how to look at their histories and their kind of how to get the handles on them from experts, and then use them as a creative design material. And those kinds of things are always changing in terms of, you know, what are the technologies? I'll put something in the chat from a recent offering of the first part of this. This is Designing Emerging Technologies that I happened to teach last semester. And then there's this sequencing of other studio courses, and you get a sense of that one. We particularly used some machine learning vision. We used augmented reality, and we also used some wearables or body kind of related technologies. The last thing that I'm going to just mention to you is that, of course, there is a culminating final studio that this particular semester, Kyle Steinfeld and myself are teaching that. And this is a chance for students to actually work on much larger, deeper questions of design. There is a range of sort of flexibility in how they work. I'm going to drop a link in the chat to, this is very much work in progress. You can imagine if you were a student, the work in here is not even near the end, but I wanted to show you a teaser of where this was going. Some ways that it works is we actually bring in a lot of what we call cluster advisors and subject experts. These are people that we draw on specifically across domains based on where the students are, their projects are focusing. Students work in clusters. These aren't teams. People can work in pairs or 3 people or as a single individual on a project. And they sort of self-identify these particular themes. You see them in the clusters: fashion and identity, elusive reality, machine poetics, matter squared, so matter that matters. Memory and identity has a lot to do with health and Alzheimer's and autism and some other really important issues. And then, of course, we're nowhere near the kind of final showcase, but if you look under the link for showcase there at the top of that particular page, you'll see a hint of where people are thinking. There's works with mycelium, there's people working with new kinds of, foods, there's interactions with plants, there's different kinds of material usage for air quality, and there's also a lot of computational methods with machine learning, GANs. Robotics is a big theme. It's sort of a very long list, and all I can say is come to the showcase, because this work is really developing rapidly, and it's exciting every day in the studio to see it come to life. So this is a very, very high level snapshot of work very much in progress. So it's a teaser, but hopefully you can see the breadth of ideas that come out of the skills from these students, and they're able to develop their own portfolio of work. Okay, Great. We are not that far behind on the schedule. That is excellent. Thank you to Randy and Floor and Vivek and Adam. Hopefully you will get to encounter them once you're here. It's great to just have that energy in the building. It's just to walk in the studio and, you know, full disclosure, I love cutting through their class and peeking around and seeing what's going on and listening to little discussions and debates. There is a class on debates in design, which is another really great way to engage in what design is, and also meet. It's a cross cohort course where people from both cohorts are in there. So many just fantastic parts of the program that are just so exciting. So one of the things many of you might want to do is think about the fact that Berkeley is also a huge #1 top research school. And so a lot of the research that goes on in the labs comes right into our studios and our classrooms. And that makes it a really unique way to really touch the technology, sometimes decades before it becomes a product, to sort of really understand what it is. Sometimes that's with companies that we're able to kind of have relationships with, but also many of the faculty themselves, you can actually work with them on their research. And a couple of them are here. I'm going to introduce them. One of them is Professor Kosha Gausha Lambert, who's in the Department of Mechanical Engineering. Welcome, Kosha.
All right. Hi, everyone. Awesome to be here. I'm going to try and share my screen. So I'm just going to step through it like this. I have an issue with the display, but really excited to be here. Hi, everyone. So I'm Kosha Gausha Lambert. I'm faculty in the Mechanical Engineering Department and also an affiliate faculty with the Jacobs Design Institute. And I was looking at some of the participants on the call and really excited to see a lot of familiar names and faces. I know I interacted with some of you during the admissions and interview process. So hope to see you in the flesh next year at Berkeley. So I just want to talk a few minutes about myself and my research and a little bit about teaching. So at Berkeley, I direct the co-design lab. So this stands for cognition and computation and design. And we're interested in a lot of fun topics, or at least fun to me. Primarily, we like exploring ways that we can understand how humans and computers can both approach design. So this involves a pretty wide array of like research methodologies. So we do what I term controlled experiments. So here we're using either behavioral or computational methods and setting up really constrained experiments to study design activity. Sometimes we build interactive prototypes or tools that we have designers use. And sometimes we're doing studies of quote unquote design in the wild. So this can be either studies of student engineers and designers or studies observing professional engineering design practice. So I have a really awesome research team that combines folks at all different levels, postdoc, PhD students, master's students, and undergraduate researchers, and love having kind of this interaction across folks that are, here at Berkeley for different various periods of time. So something that's pretty unique, I think, about the research that we do in my lab. So yes, we're in mechanical engineering, but we really study the design process. And we like to team up with a lot of friends. So we do work with folks in psychology and cognitive neuroscience, trying to understand design behavior. We've done work using crowdsourcing techniques, a lot of AI machine learning methods, and stuff with folks in industrial design as well. So hopefully, you can see yourself in these disciplines, and the MDes cohort is such an exciting group of students that have, all sorts of really interesting backgrounds to contribute to research. Just one more quick slide on kind of research stuff. So I know it can be a little bit hard to picture what does this look like. And again, it's a pretty wide range of stuff. So some of it would be on maybe like more computational work. We partner with Autodesk on kind of generative design platforms and exploring new computational tools to support design practice. As I mentioned, a lot of kind of behavioral studies where we're looking at student or professional designers and their practice. and then trying to build prototypes of tools that designers might use in their work and seeing how it actually goes when we have them use it. And then on the teaching side, I do get to interact with some of you through coursework. So primarily I'm teaching classes related to product design or human-centered design. One of our courses, this would be an elective class for the MDes curriculum, is on human-centered design methods. It's a semester-long course where you work in project teams. We've had some really awesome projects here. So teams of like 4 or 5 students. This one that I'm showing on the screen now was with a Native American community, 45 minutes north of UC Berkeley campus. So this was to basically an educational composting device. So that was a really nice project. And tons more information on research and teaching is available online. I know we only have just a few minutes together today. So happy to answer questions in the chat, or if you want to reach out to me directly, that's fine. Here's some coordinates. So you can find me on Twitter. This is the lab website, codesign.berkeley.edu, or you can just send me an email, which is kosa@berkeley.edu. All right, thanks everyone, and hope to see you here at Berkeley in the fall.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Kosha. That was amazing. Always great to see the work. And I think you do have to take that into account, that a lot of these research opportunities come right into the studio and the classroom. So also we're able to have some time with Professor Sakaldas, who's in the College of Environmental Design and does a lot of work with virtual reality, among other things. But she's another instructor that really, or a faculty member that really teaches courses and interacts with students that in the program and has opportunities for research engagement. So Louisa, I'll hand it off to you.
Hi, everybody. So excited to see many names I saw during admissions. Welcome to this session. I'm a professor of architecture, as Eric said. I'm pretty involved with the MDes in the education committee, but also, our classes in architecture are open to you. I'm an architect by training, but I've been doing sustainable design for like 25 years. And more recently, I started the AR VR lab known as XR Lab. So I'm going to share my screen. Hold on, trying to do that. So I thought, what can I do in 3 minutes? I'm going to just show a couple of screenshots of stuff that I do. Okay, so you can see my previous work on generative design, parametric design, and then you can just go have a look at the classes I've taught. So a lot of them you can see are about immersive design, space and media, building narratives in virtual environments. So have a look, you'll see what students do with me, and together we try to be pretty active and have fun in class. For me, it's super important. Some of our work, for example, this is a big AR exhibition we did at the Berkeley Art Museum. So again, my team is architecture, computer science, UI UX, information school, MDes. I have a couple of you guys in my lab. We put together things. We like to get projects done. Have a look at the website. Basically, you can look at our research. So for example, we're super interested in participatory design. Insight XR is a way to kind of crowdsource design knowledge from others. So you can kind of post your design and get feedback from others. We're super interested in sustainability in immersive environments. We involving like the pediatric population in designing hospitals for children. It's like we're really interested in what we can do with design and immersive environments. Have a look at some student projects. Those are kind of more lightweight and fun. And, they can deal with social justice. They can deal with climate change. They can deal with just experiential storytelling. So we're really open to whatever you want to do. And the last thing I wanted to show you is like a digital twin of the architecture school that we created, where everybody can hop in with your avatar, post your 3D models, post you know, whatever you've done in terms of simulations, videos, drawings, and then, you know, interact with that information in a number of ways. So of course, chat and messaging, but also, you know, enlarging things, discussing them, connecting to others that you have online, Pinterest, you know, web pages, all these are interactive objects. Have a look at some of what the students have been doing with this. We call it virtual Bauwurst. Bauwurst is our building, so it's kind of a strange name, but you can have a look at what people have been posting, have been doing. Yeah, and I thought I could show a small movie. Hold on, I wasn't in. So this is studio, you can be there with others, choose your avatar, you know, fly around, move around, chat. It's fun, people interact, you know, more openly than in a Zoom call, for example. After you select a project, you can hop in, others can be there with you. This, for example, was at an urban scale. People wanted to understand things about views or solar exposure. You can kind of land in certain parts of your project, invite others in, understand systems of use. Like when one person was at that mountain. You can see how buildings are in reality, call in different media types. Yeah, and experience. So a lot is about experience. So for example, here was a house designed by solar exposure, and you can try to see how it is to be, you know, swimming inside their little, you know, hot spa, and invite others. So yeah, I hope you decide to be a blue bear and have fun with this. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Luisa. That's amazing. I always, I just want to emphasize again that you often will think of things like maybe virtual reality or augmented reality. Maybe that's in computer science, but in fact, it's all over campus from all kinds of different perspectives and lenses and approaches, things with, you know, everything from Unity to working with, you know, augmented reality, you know, all kinds of technologies. But it's not all in one discipline. And in fact, you're probably getting the sense that many of us that have been speaking and the other instructors wear lots of hats and think in lots of different ways about the world, and particularly around design. Okay, well, thank you, Kosha and Luisa. Please reach out to them if you have questions.